भगवती निःशेष जाड्या पहा, निःशेष जाड्या पहा.
Thank you so much, ma'am. On the behalf of organizing committee, I, Mrs. Aparna Dubey, convener of this international webinar and head of computer science department, heartily welcome you all in this international webinar on Kickstart Your Research Career, jointly organized by Sambalpur University Institute of Information Technology, Sambalpur, Odisha, and Oratus Research Lab, Bhubaneswar, Odisha. For today's event, it's our indeed pleasure to introduce our main keynote speaker, Dr. Mamta Ejwal Madam, Research Focus Assistant Professor, Sejong University, Seoul, South Korea. Chief patron of this event is Shri Basan Sharma ji, Chairman of our college. He is always our source of inspiration behind any organizing such event. Patron Dr. Ranjana Chaturvedi Madam, Principal of our college. She always guides us. And Director of our college is Mrs. Nisha Sharma Madam. She is always supporting and cooperating. Apart from our college, this event is also jointly organized by Mr. Suvendu Das Sir, CTO, Oratus Research Lab, Bhubaneswar, Odisha, and Mr. Rashmikant Patti Sir, Assistant Professor, Sambalpur University, Institute of Information Technology, Sambalpur, Odisha. Both were helpful and cooperative for organizing this event, and they are co-host of it. I would also like to introduce co-convener of this event, Mrs. Sarika Srivastav Madam, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science. Now, I would like to welcome you all, the respected dignitaries and eminent speaker. To this online program, we are indeed too honored to have you with us. Now, I would like to speak on the objective of this international webinar. As we all know, students are exposed to research for the first time. Most of the students do not have proper idea of research. They find it very difficult to start research career even during and after their graduation and post-graduation or after getting admission to MPhil or PhD. It is quite challenging for them to start their research career in all disciplines. To start a research career, reading research paper, literature survey, and writing a research paper are few important aspects. This webinar will provide an overview of essential tips and roadmap for the student to start a research career. It will help the academicians willing to pursue a research career. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Suvendu Das Sir, Oratus Research Lab, to continue the technical session with our keynote speaker. After her presentation, there will be a questionnaire session. You can mention your all questions in comment box. Over to you, Mr. Suvendu, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for your brief introduction about this webinar. And I'll be really thanks to all of you those are joining with this webinar. First of all, I'll be thankful to the principal madam of DLSPG college and the HOD madam for giving this opportunity to orate us, and also the honorable director sir of Sambalpur University Institute of Information Technology, and the HOD sir and the Rasmi sir for giving this opportunity to orate us to co-host this event with Sambalpur University Institute of Information Technology and the PGC or DLS PG College. And I'll be going to brief introduction about Professor Dr. Mamta Ejwal. She is completed her PhD from Chungkwang University, South Korea, and completed his MA in Digital Electronics from Visvesvaraya Technology University, India. She worked as a postdoctoral researcher in Hwang University, South Korea, and previously working as an associate professor with the CMR Institute of Technology, India. Currently, she is working as an assistant professor with Chingjeong University, South Korea, and current her research interests include 5G and beyond 5G wireless communication, energy efficiency, and the Internet of Things. Dr. Ejwal has published more than 15 SCI and SCIE journal articles in the field of computer science and communications. Her article titled Next Generation 5G Wireless Network, a Comprehensive Survey, published in IEEE Communication Survey and Tutorial, has received more than 1,950 citations in Google Scholar and 61,102 full text view in IEEE report until now. I'll be going to give my congratulations to madam for this achievement actually. And now we are really interested to hear from words about the research and how we can start our career in research and how we are approach our research towards that. And now I'm going to hand over this call to ma'am. Ma'am, now it is up to you.
Good morning, everybody. So I am Professor Mamta Agiwal, and first of all, I'd like to thank DLS PG College and Sambalpur University for this opportunity, and I'll also like to thank Professor Aparna Dubey, Professor Supendru, and Professor Bharat. So yeah, I've been teaching in Bangalore for a very long time, and in fact, from 2000 to 2015. I was there in Bangalore and I had an opportunity to associate with a lot of undergraduate students and postgraduate students. And then uh, I was struggling there with research, and I had this opportunity to come to Korea and I learned a few things. So today I thought would be best for me to share my experience so that we can all have a rewarding research as I said. So let's start. So we'll start with the seminar. So of course, what is research? So I could have started my presentation starting with what is research, what is the process of research, what are the steps of research. There are already a lot of literature available for that, right? We do not need that kind of theory, right? We need some practical experience where we can go and start reading the papers and doing the research. So based on my experience, I have created this presentation. And what is research means what is research to you and what is research to me. So let us start with that. So before we start, of course, it is going to be a very challenging and very difficult journey. So you cannot expect that today you are here and after this seminar we all will go and just start writing the papers. Of course, it is going to be a very unrelenting and a very long journey. But nevertheless, I sincerely believe that it's a very rewarding journey. And why it is rewarding journey? It is not rewarding journey because people will appreciate you, or because your paper will be accepted, or because you will get a degree. It's like you create something, right? As an artist, when you create a painting, right, that kind of joy that you feel. So after all the challenge and after all the hard work, the product will be really rewarding. And that is what should be our passion. That is what should be our intention to start with the research. Of course, there are two things that drive research. One is necessity. When I say necessity, necessity does not mean that it's a requirement on your degree, right? You have to publish a research paper, or you have to publish something. So necessity means the necessity of the topic, right? How necessary is the output that you are producing from your research. And the one thing that will drive you through this unrelenting time is your curiosity. Don't let your curiosity uh, get ahead, die anytime, right? So be curious and try to find out necessity, including the necessity of the degree requirement. But of course, we can do it. So let us start. Let us start with the what does research means to you and me. So we all know how we do undergraduate courses, and even in masters we have like semesters. In every semester we have 6 subjects and then 2 practicals, and then we have that list of topics that we have to cover. The university gives a syllabus. We tick, this is done, this is done, this is done, and we ultimately prepare ourselves to write, let's say, 5 questions out of 8, right? That has been our journey. And suddenly, in the end of final year of BTech or in the masters or in the beginning of the masters, suddenly you are told that do the research, right? Now, when you are told that you have to submit a research paper, where do you find the topic? What is the syllabus? What is the curriculum? How do you go about it? It's really, really very confusing that how to start it, how to start your journey of the research, right? And that is what we will see today. So to start with, research is what? Research. Re means again, and search means to find something, right? So what we'll try to do in our journey of research is we'll try to find out more and more. We'll try to search something again and again and again. Say example, let us say you are on a beach and you lose your gold ring on a beach. So what will you do? You will search the sand, right? How long will you search the sand? Till you can find that ring that is lost in the sand. So you search and then you search again. So here also there is a vast, vast ocean of knowledge, right? And in this knowledge, you try to search and research again, right? So that is the idea of research, that you're trying to scan through the knowledge that is available. How do you do that? How do you do that? You collect information, right? You try to collect lot of information. Information from where? Information, I'll say from wherever you can, but since we are talking of scientific research, there are some particular places where we can find out research related to our topic. So, for example, if I have lost my ring on a beach in Goa, I cannot go and find my ring in Pune, right? Or in Puri, right? So I have to look where exactly is my area of interest. So that these are the things that we are going to see today. Now, what do you think is research? Let us draw some parallels. Let us see, if I was a lawyer, right? If I was a lawyer and if I had to do research, what would I do? Right, I will take a case study, right? I'll take some case study. Some of the cases are very popular in media these days, be it Sushant Singh or be it somebody else. So you take some case study and you try to find out details and more details and more details about that, right? So if you are a historian, how will you do the research? Say I want to do research on World War I, or I want to do research on Vietnam War. What I'll do is I'll try to find out more and more details on that. Since I understand we are mostly computer science and electronics people, so we'll say we are scientific studies, right? So we have to use the scientific case studies. What could be the scientific case studies? What could be the scientific case studies? Say if you are a computer science a student, what are you studying? You are studying data communication, you are studying network security, you are studying data structures, you are studying algorithm designs. So these will be your case studies, right? These will be your topics. So we have to do research on these areas. We have to find out details on these areas. Now, how do we do that? To do that, what I have done is I have divided the whole journey into these steps, right? I have divided the whole journey into these steps, right? We start from this research topic and how to find out the keywords, how to find out the useful sources, right? And how to ultimately write our paper, right? So let us go about these points. So the first point is determining the research topic. Right? What do you mean? How do you find out the research topics? So I have seen a lot of students. How do they do the research topic? The college will give a deadline, and suddenly you go to your friend and you ask, "Have you found out the research topic?" Your friend will say, my cousin in so and so place, he knows something about VLSI. So my topic of research is VLSI. So you will also say, okay, you are doing VLSI, so I will also do VLSI. So that is little skeptical. We should put lot of investment in searching the research topic. Why? Because you are going to live with this research topic for a very, very long time, right? So you have to find a perfect match. So understand, research topic is not like a trophy to show off, right? Research topic is a match of what you like, what you want to do. So let us try and figure out how to find out the research topic. So my suggestion is, or what I usually do is, you can follow a broad topic. Say I am from electronics department. So initially when I'll tell about my journey. So when I started my research journey, so I was from electrical department. So my BTech and everything is from electrical department. So my core area was interest of power saving. Anything that would help me save power because I'm from electrical background. And then I was reading about power saving, and then suddenly I started reading about power saving in wireless communication. And then I realized that in wireless communication, instead of power, it's the spectrum which is more important. So I'm not going into those details, and that is how the journey begins. So my idea is that you find a broad topic out of all the subjects that you have studied in your engineering, or you are still studying in your masters, or you are as a professor you are teaching. What is the subject that you like the most? Just think about it and choose that as a broad topic. Let us say somebody likes computer networks or somebody likes security. So let us consider security. It's just an example. So you choose a topic on computer security or computer networks. Now, if you simply go to Google or IEEE website or a Springer website and you write papers on network security, you will get loads and loads and loads of paper. And I am not very confident that the first paper that you read, you will understand that. So what I'll suggest is don't read the paper to start with. So you find out a broad topic, you think about a broad topic that you like, very broad topic. And after you have chosen that broad topic, what you can do is try what's happening new in that broad topic. So try to read some newspaper article, or try to read some blog, or try to read some white paper. Say these days everybody is talking about 5G communication, right? With Reliance and with Geo and with Airtel, everybody is talking of 5G communication. So when you start talking about, say, 5G communication, you will see, oh, there is some white paper by Samsung, there is some white paper by Nokia, there is some white paper by Geo, there is some white paper by Ericsson. So there are a lot of white papers. Why I am saying white papers and blogs is because they are not very technical. They are written in a very, very simple language so that everybody can understand, right? So when somebody writes a blog about anything, or when the company produces a white paper, then it will not be extremely technical. So that will help you understand that what is actually happening in that particular field of interest. So my suggestion is think of a subject that you like. Now, in that subject, try to find out what's happening new in that subject. Try to read some newspaper article on that. Try to read a white paper on that. Try to read a blog on that. Very simple, very simple. Don't go technical to start with, because the moment you start going technical, you will have that fear, and sometimes you will feel, oh, it is so difficult, I cannot do it. Remember, you can do everything. So you are young, right? You are young, you have so much energy, so you can do anything. So the idea is read these blogs, read these white papers, understand the topic. Now, once you have understand the topic, what you can do is you try to find out keywords from there. Say if you are reading a blog on wireless communication or 5G communication, in every blog you will come across similar kind of term. Say if it is 5G wireless, then maybe you will come across IoT. If it is network security, you will come across the term cyber attacks, right? So what you can do is you can broadly classify the keywords, right? Keywords. So keywords are important. Of course, you may not understand the details of these keywords. What you can do is just note it down. Note it down. So if you can note it down, if you're reading somewhere, you can make a note in your notebook. Or what I do is I have created one a note in my phone. So whenever I come across a new term related to my field, I just write that term. I do not understand that term, of course, but just write the keywords. Just read blogs, read newspaper, and just write the keywords. What are the important words? Just write what incites you, what attracts you. Write those keywords. And once you have written those keywords, just see whether these keywords are appearing again and again. So I am sure those who are interested in wireless communication, or those who are interested in smartphones, they would have come across these words very often, IoT, right? So everywhere. So you can see what is the trend. What is the trend? So you can see what are the keywords. Any other keyword you can think of right now, which is very popular? Artificial intelligence, right? machine learning. Anybody you talk to, they want to study artificial intelligence. They want to study machine learning. They are the keywords. Try to see the trend. When I say the trend, it's not only the future trend which is important. Try to see what is already available in the literature. Because if I select a topic which is a very new topic, I might not have enough information on that for my research. So it should not be oh, it should not be a very recent topic, right? If it is a very recent topic, you will find difficulty in finding out resources. So what you do is, when you read the blogs, when you read the newspapers, when you read the white papers, just list the topics and see how often, how frequent these keywords are coming. What are the trends on these keywords, right? And whether they actually require study or not, right? So these are the things that you should look for when you are noting down the keywords. So just think of the subject you like, read a newspaper article on that subject, or read a blog on that subject, and just make a list of keywords, right? Try, when you are checking the keywords, try to use a topic which is more generic, not very local, right? It's not very local. Say some local topic can be the agriculture, or the soil quality in some part of some village is not very good, right? So that is a very local research topic, right? Such research topic would be difficult, right, to carry on, right? It should be more of a global topic, right? So try to search of a topic which is very global, which is not outdated, and which is not very recent, right? So just read some topics, make a note of keywords. Now that is your first step. Now after you have made the, okay, this is an example. So these are some of the blogs. I just typed 6G communication, and these are some of the blogs that came up. And from these words, I simply note down the keywords. Say mm waves. This looks like a keyword because I do not know what is wave. Or here you can see virtual network functions. Or here you can see OT. I have not written IoT as a keyword because IoT has become more popular. But what is OT? Anybody knows? I don't know what is OT, right? So when you are searching the blog like this, just note down the keywords. That is your first step. So in every research, this is your first step. Try to identify the keywords, right? Say wireless communication is my favorite subject, so I'm sorry I'm giving examples from that only. So we'll start with wireless communication. And in wireless communication, let us say if I try to find out what is happening most recently in the wireless communication, then obviously it is 5G and 6G wireless communication. I can read this 5G, about 5G or about 6G in a lot of blogs, in a lot of newspaper articles. Now, when I read blogs by different companies, I note down the keywords. So whenever I try to read about 5G and 6G, I came across these keywords. IoT, of course, which means Internet of Things. IIoT, that is Industrial Internet of Things. AI, Artificial Intelligence, machine type communication. So these are some of the keywords. So like similarly, in your subject area also, whether you want to study VLSI or algorithm design, you will have some keywords. So first you make the list of these keywords, and then you do the thorough analysis. First is just to analyze to find out the keywords, and then you do the thorough analysis of the list of keywords or the topics that you have selected, right? For example, okay, my computer hanged. I guess you guys are able to hear me.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a moment. So when we are analyzing these keywords, yeah. Sorry, yeah. So let us make a thorough analysis of these keywords, right? So how do I make a thorough analysis of keyword? Now I have a list of keywords. IoT, AI. So what I'll do is I'll try to find out first definition. What is IoT? What is IIoT? What is AI? What is the difference between machine learning and AI? Try to just simply find out. find out the basic definitions, the basic differences. Don't try, if I start AI and or machine learning and I start with CNN networks or neural networks, or directly I start with these kind of networks, or I start with reinforcement learning, it will be very hard. So first I have to understand what is the topic, understand the standard definitions, understand the standard things. How? Again, read the blogs, read some standard articles, white papers, some online videos, and once you are clear with the definition, then you start reading the research papers. Now, when you read the research paper, my suggestion is always start reading these two kind of papers, survey papers and magazine papers. Always, this will really help you. Say, if I have chosen a topic IoT, so I will simply try to find out what is the survey on IoT. Or if I have found out a cyber attack, I will try to find out a survey on cyber attack. Why? Because these surveys, again, you will see, are not having lot of mathematical equations. They will not be having lot of technical jargons. They will be, again, very easy for you to understand, to grasp. So start with survey paper, magazine papers. And what are these papers? I'll discuss more on this in the subsequent slides. So first read the blogs, white papers, and then start reading. Once you have decided one or two topics that you really, really like, on those topics, you start to read survey papers and magazine papers. One of my suggestions is it's really, really helpful is whenever you are talking to your friends or to your professors, or when you're simply browsing through the internet, just try to talk about this. Say if I am talking to Professor Bharat, or if I'm talking to some other of my colleagues, so I'll ask them what's happening new in IoT, what's happening new in AI, right? So you get a wider perspective, right? So that is the idea behind doing the thorough analysis. And once you have done you are clear that this is the topic that I want to study, you know, at least the basic definition on that topic, is now is the time that you start looking for your good resources. Till now you were simply reading newspaper article, blogs, white papers, simple things. Now once you are clear that this is this area that I want to work, and I have at least some idea on one particular topic, now is the time that you start looking for some useful sources. Now, what are the useful sources? Useful sources, you can say, is whenever anybody does research, any professor or any student or any researchers in company, whenever they do research, they try to publish their research, right? They try to publish their research. How do they try to publish their research? They write research articles or they do research reporting, right? And when they publish their research, they usually publish their research in forms of magazine papers, in forms of survey papers, conference paper, workshop, journal, and letter. What are these different kind of papers, right? We sometimes we are not clear what is the difference between a survey paper, what is the difference between magazine paper and conference paper, right? What is a journal paper, what is a letter paper? So there are different kind of paper, right? I have made this list in the order because it helps me. I always start reading as a magazine paper. When I say magazine paper, it's a technical magazine paper, right? And then I read survey papers, or I read after that. After I am thorough with magazines and survey papers, it's then when I start with conference papers or workshop papers or journal papers. So what are survey papers? You will see survey papers is integration of lot of papers, right? Say cyber security. So cyber security, somebody did some analysis on cyber security. Somebody did cyber security exclusively for smartphones. Somebody did cyber security exclusively for banking documents. So some people do different research in cybersecurity. What the survey paper do is, survey paper collects the idea from this paper, the idea from this paper, and ideas from this paper, and put it together in a survey paper. Now, once you read a survey paper, you have a basic idea of what is going on in that particular topic, right? That is the survey paper. It collects message from everywhere. What is a magazine paper? Survey papers will be usually very long. They will be tutorial in nature, but they will be very long, maybe 15 pages, 20 pages, 40 pages. So you really need to invest a lot of time in survey papers. Now, when you are reading a survey paper, if you specifically like something, you can, because survey paper will be referring to some other work, you can download those works which you specifically like, right? So start with survey papers and magazine papers. What are magazine papers? The best part about magazine paper is they are very short, only 5 to 6 pages. So it's very easy to read a magazine paper. Second part about magazine paper is there are no equations. So at the most, 2 equations are allowed in magazine paper. So magazine paper is no equations, right? Secondly, if you see the call for papers for magazine papers, specifically it is written that it should be comprehensible, it should be understandable here by readers outside the speciality of the article. What does this mean? That if I am outside the speciality, right? I am some person who just know the definition of IoT, but I do not know the details of IoT. Then also the magazine papers should help me understand whatever is written in the magazine paper. So magazine paper are very interesting. They are very simple. Their language is also very interesting. There are no equations. They are short. So magazine paper are very easy to comprehend, easy to understand. So once you have decided your topic, first you try to read magazine paper and then you try to read the survey paper. And you know what is the difference between magazine paper and survey paper. If you are running short of time, read magazine paper. If you have lot of time, read survey paper. But they will really help you. Now, once you read this paper, you will have at least a clear idea of what is happening in IoT, or what is IoT, or what are the issues in IoT, right? So after that, you can start reading conference paper and workshops paper. What are conference paper and workshop paper? Normally, if you see any conference paper or any workshop paper, they will specify a problem and a solution to that problem. So every conference paper or workshop paper that you read, you will try to see what is the problem and what is the solution they have offered. Sometimes the workshop paper or conference paper takes some other paper and try to improve the existing work, or try to improve the existing paper, right? So that is the problem they find out in the existing paper and make a small improvement in that paper. So that is the conference paper. Again, there are further advantages of conference paper. One of the main advantages of conference paper are that conference papers are relatively new as compared to journal articles. Why? Because journal articles usually takes long time to be accepted and to be published. One of my journal articles I submitted in 2018 December. I'm still waiting for the result. So the process itself is very long. You cannot do anything about it. You submit a journal paper, then it goes for the review, then you will have revisions, then you submit the revisions, then again it goes for a review. The whole process itself is very long, right? But conference paper are time bound, so you will have deadline. So this is the deadline, right? So when it is a time bound thing, so it is relatively new. So if my article is published in a journal today, that means that work I had done 2 years back, right? It's relatively not very new work, right? But the advantages of journal paper is they are very detailed, very detailed. Conference papers will not be very detailed. So my suggestion is, after you have read magazine paper and surveys paper, then you start reading the conference paper. Conference papers are compact. Conference papers are new. Conference paper are short. They quickly give you, this is the problem, this is the solution. This is the problem, this is the solution. And journal papers, then you start reading on very, very specific topics that you have shortlisted. Say in IoT, I want to study on security in IoT, right? Then after I have read the conference paper or magazine papers on security in IoT, now I will check what are the most popular journal papers on security in IoT, because that is where I will get lot of details on analysis. There will be lot of analysis in journal papers. Conference papers will have very limited analysis. And there is another kind of papers which are called as letter articles. Letter articles are again, letters are published to publish something very, very new, very new. So letter articles are short. So the maximum length of a letter articles is 4 pages. So it's again becomes very easy to read, and it will have lot of analysis. It will have a reasonable amount of analysis. You can understand that paper, and they will give you something very, very new. But again, my suggestion is, if you are starting your research career, if you are just starting your research career, don't try to look for something which is very, 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 very new, because then it will be very difficult to find out resources for that, right? So the flow should be magazine paper, survey paper, then try to find out the conference papers, and then when you are very thorough with everything and you want to study more details, it is when you start studying the journal articles, right? And letter articles, again, to look for something, if you are looking for something very, very new, right? So that is the flow. You find out the useful sources. So just to summarize what we have done, uh, what we have understood till now is, first I think of a broader topic, the subject that I write, and then I try to read blogs and white papers on the subject. From that reading, I just make a list of keywords. And after I have made a list of keywords, I try to know first the definition of those keywords. Once I am familiar with those keywords, first I will read magazine papers on that keywords, then I will read a survey paper on that keyword, and then I will build my knowledge by reading conference papers and journal papers on that articles, right? So it has become a very long monologue. Anybody has a question right now, or shall we continue? Okay, let's continue. So once we have written these journal articles, this is my suggestion, and it really helps me. Whenever I am reading any paper, whether it is a magazine, journal, conference, any paper, I follow the 3 color rule. Now, it really helps me. Why 3 color rules? One color, say for in this case, I have used this yellow color to highlight the sentences which I really like, right? The language of the sentence is written very beautifully, right? So first color maybe you can use to find out the how the sentence is written. Why is this important? Because once you are done with your research, you will be writing your research paper, your own research paper. And once you sit to write your research paper, my suggestion is, go back to these paper where you have marked in yellow and just read these sentences. See, we are not native English speakers, right? We don't, every time we don't think in English. So we have to read some good language. And when we read this good language again and again, we will try to imitate it when we write our own paper. So always make one yellow color for some good sentences. And whenever you want to write your paper, just go and read those sentences. So that will help stimulate your mind. That is one. Second, when you are reading any paper, use another color. In this case, I'm using green color to highlight something that I've clearly understood. This I clearly understand. This is very nice. I understood this topic. I'm so happy, right? That this sentence here wants to say that the preambles are the subsets of p-rach occasions. Don't go into the details, but I understand this concept. So you will know that this is the concept you know. So that is the second highlighting point. The third highlight would be the points that you do not understand, and you will be, these are the that you need to research more, right? Say, for example, in this case, it's online estimation. What is online estimation? I do not know. So I have no idea what is online estimation. So what I will do, I write it in my keywords, right? And then I will first try to read what is this, try to read some definition on this, try to read some short magazine paper on this, because I do not know what it is, right? So this is how you can build your knowledge base. This is how you build your knowledge base, right? Now, these two things go hand in hand, to and fro. Find the useful sources, that is the paper. And when you are finding the useful sources, you also check whether they are timely. I'm not reading an article which was published in 1945, or I'm not reading an article which is absolutely outdated. So just check that they are very timely, they are relevant, and what is their scope. How do I find out what is their scope? The scope is, when there are different articles, they have different impact factor. Impact. Check what is the impact factor of the article that you are reading. Normally, the articles which have very low acceptance ratio, say if you say I'm again from wireless communication, so if I have a journal on transactions on mobile communications, right, the acceptance rate is very low, I think 3 to 4%. So that means, oh, it's very difficult to have your paper published in this particular journal. That means the quality should be very good, right? So these are some of the things that you can do. I personally believe it is not necessary that all articles that are published in very high journal are very good, very easy to understand. You can understand from anywhere, but once you have got your basics, it's very important that you read some high impact journals. Please make sure that your research includes some high impact journals in your field. That will really help you analyze your research, that will really help you increase your knowledge base, right? So try to see the paper that you are reading is a high impact journal. Also, if you come across a paper which is badly formatted, the grammar is not very good, there are a lot of errors, and the writing style is not very good, don't read that paper. Don't read that paper. Why? Because that means somebody has not put effort. If they have not put effort in presenting their work, that means they are not convinced of their work. See, I'm an artist. I told you, you have to think of research as an art, right? If I'm an artist, and if I make my art very beautifully, I will not throw it like that, right? I'll preserve it, I'll showcase it, I'll show it because it's very dear to me, right? So similarly with the articles which are not very correctly written, you can ignore them. Rather, try to read the articles which have very good grammar, which have very good writing style. Why? Because ultimately, what you read is what you write. If you read good, you will write good, right? That is how the process works, right? Also, when you are reading the articles, try to observe the organization. Like first there should be introduction, and then some problem statement, and probably some solution to that problem statement. So that is how you build your knowledge base, right? That is how you build your knowledge base. So start with magazine paper, start with survey paper, read some conferences paper, try highlighting whatever you read. Now, at this point, when you are starting your research, I am sure, I can guarantee you, you will not understand 80% of what you read. Do not worry, do not give up. That is a standard procedure, because when you read again and again and again, that is why how you train your mind to understand something, right? This is something very new. This is something you have not been doing from the childhood, right? So it will take some time. So that's why I told you it's a very unrelenting long process. If you are not understanding in the first code, do not worry, but follow the steps. What are the steps? Like something, make it highlight with color. Understand something, highlight with color. Do not understand something, highlight with color. Then after 10 days, go back to that paper again, right? Go back to that again, try to do the same process. So that is how you will be building your knowledge base. And in your knowledge base, make sure that you finally you have lot of good impact publications, right? So here, till here, we are clear, right? We have finalized, we have collected some paper. Now you understand that research lies in detail. Details means what? Something like this? So many equations? Oh my God. Half of you will just close the window and go back. No, research does not mean the details. Means you have to go details of all the equations, right? When I say when when I say when I say details, let us say details of the paper that you read, any research article that you read. So again, since we are all trying to learn how to do the research, let us break down the article, right? We are trying to read research paper, whether it is a magazine paper or it is a conference paper or it is a journal paper or it is the letter paper. These will normally have this kind of a structure. First, there will be title, of course, and there will be author section, who are the authors, and then there will be abstract, introduction, related work, proposal, and results of the discussion. So, yeah. So this is the format of the paper. So when can we please turn this off? I'm sorry.
Uh, can you remove the person? Those
Yes,
are
yes, yes, sir. I already removed.
actually,
Oh, so yeah. So the research article will have these many topics. So from authors to abstracts to introduction to related work. Uh, so when we read the research articles, let us try to focus details of all these things. So every article will have an abstract. So what is an abstract? Abstract is, it will give you in short, that the paper is doing. So always when you are reading a paper, first read the abstract, right? If you like the abstract, you will like the paper. Why? Because abstract gives you an idea about what is the problem, what is the motivation behind the work, and what is the intended solution, right? Of course, you cannot find the details of solutions in the abstract, but it will be a very brief representation of the paper. So always read the abstract to get an idea what the paper is talking about. So you will have an idea. Every paper, conference paper, journal paper, letter paper, it will have an abstract, right? So first, always read the abstract. Now, then comes the introduction. Introduction is a very important part of the write-up, right? Now, introduction usually will have 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph will be the motivation or clearly the objectives of the work. The second paragraph will be some supporting thing that people have been doing this research, but this problem still needs to be solved. And finally, there will be a conclusion paragraph. Now, whenever you are reading abstract, you will see the flow. Always there will be a motivation. Try to find out motivation in the abstract. What is the motivation? Motivation is that what is the motivation behind the work? Why somebody is doing the work? Why somebody is doing the work? So try to find out the motivation in the introduction section, right? Try to find out what is the problem in the introduction section. These things are very important. And every paper that you read, try to highlight the motivation, try to highlight the problem. Why? Because that will help you identify your motivation and your interest later on. So try to highlight the motivation, try to find out the uh, problem statement. Also very important is to find out the significance. What is the significance? So try to find out significance of the work, right? Normally there will be a lot of author's contribution. When author will write, they will say, we have done this, we have used this to prove that, we have used a Markov model, or we have used AI, or we have used something else. Try to highlight what have they used. Just highlight what is the author's contribution. That will really help, right? And ultimately, in every introduction, in the end, there will be the roadmap. The rest of the paper is organized as. So the writer will tell you, the author will tell you, in first paragraph, we are doing this. In the second one, we are doing this. In the third one, we are doing this. So if you have that in mind, that once you are reading the introduction, if you understand that what you are looking for in that introduction of any paper that you read, you are looking for motivation of that work, you are looking for contributions, you are looking for significance of that work, right? And of course the problem of that work, right? Then first paragraph will be introduction, right? And after introduction, if it is a journal paper or it is a conference paper, they will have this small section which is a related work. Now related work is important. Why it is important? To understand the relevance and the feasibility, right? I would like to do research on how to land a rocket on Mars, right? But from my domain it is not feasible, right? So you have to find out the feasibility of that research, how people are doing that research, what is it possible to do that research, what tools that people have been using in that research. That will give, the related work will give you that idea, right? And then first section will always be introduction, then will be the related work. And then finally relate, if you have read the survey papers already, then related work section you will find it very easy because you have already read the survey paper on that particular topic, right? And then every paper will have a proposal. So what is the problem they are trying to solve and what is the solution? So if you read a paper, try to find out what problem they are trying to solve. What actually happens is we go into the mathematical analysis of the paper, we go into details of the paper, we lose the sight. What you have to find out when you are reading the paper, what is the problem that the paper is targeting and how they are finding out the solution. You may not understand the solution, but at least you will understand the problem statement. The solution, somebody has worked for 1 year 2 years to find out the solution and write the solution in paper. Of course, you cannot understand just by reading it, right? It will take hundreds of reading. You will read it once, you will read it twice to understand that. But what you can understand is a problem statement. So from every paper, try to find out the problem statement and the approach. The solution sometimes may be too complicated, too mathematical. You don't have to go into the details of the mathematical modeling of every paper that you read, because if you do that, it will not help you, right? And finally the paper will have results. So when you are reading results section, what you have to see is whether the results are matching with the claim. So the authors would have made some claim in abstract, the authors would have told that these are my contributions in introduction section. So whether the results are matching with that. One very important thing I like to highlight here is the simulation model. Every paper will give you the simulation model. What is the simulation model, right? So try to find out the what is the simulation model. These things will help us later on. So that is how you build your knowledge base. Till you're just building your knowledge base. And now once you have identified the topic, you have done some little bit of your research, find out a few magazine papers, highlighted a few conference paper, even though you do not understand the mathematical, but in that topic you are able to find out some key questions or some keywords, right? And now you are ready to write your research question. So let us see research question. So this is how you can write your research question. So all of us use smartphones, right? All of us are using smartphone. So take a moment and think, what do you want your smartphone to have better? What do you think? So I want my smartphone to have a more battery life. How nice it would be that if I have to charge my phone only once a week, right? On Sundays to Sunday, I charge my phone and then no problem at all. How nice that would be, right? So I want my phone to have a very high battery life. What else do you want your phones to do? High speed? Of course you want your phone to have a very high speed. You do not want that circle sign, right? More data rates, right? More data. Of course everybody needs more data. Ubiquitous connectivity. So you are in Bhubaneswar, you are in some metropolitan area, your phone is working very well. The moment you go to some outskirts, suddenly there is no line, no signal. You go here, there, no signal because it's not ubiquitously connected, right? So I want my phone to be ubiquitously connected, right? Then, of course, I have a teenage daughter and all the time she's taking pictures, cut, 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 cut. She wants more storage. Everybody wants more storage. As a grown-up individual, I want my phone to operate my washing machine. What better than that, right? So these are some of the things that you want on your topic. So now this is an example of smartphone I used because everybody uses smartphone. Now once you have found out your research topic like this, try to find out what are the keywords on that research topic and then choose one topic. Say I am choosing ubiquitous connectivity. How can I have Better connectivity. If I have more base stations, right? If I have more base stations, that wherever I go, my phone would be connected. How can I have more base stations? What will happen if I have more base stations? What will happen? The cost will increase, both the operating cost and the capital cost, right? The network provider will have to put base station here, then base station after another kilometer, the base station after another kilometer. So a lot of operating cost and capital cost will be there, right? Now, if lot of operating cost and capital cost is there, what solution can you think of? Maybe instead of physical base station, what if we have virtual base stations? Right? That will help. You do not need a site to buy. You do not have to go and install a tower there, right? Virtual base station. What about that? Maybe we can have some virtual base stations, right? Now, if you have virtual base stations, now you got your problem. You got your research problem. What is the effect of virtual base station on the battery of a smartphone? So similarly, like this, it's so easy. It's not difficult. Once you have created the keyword, once you have read a little bit of literature, you will be able to find out your problem like this. So when your professor tells you, or when the college gives a deadline that you have to give a research problem, you have to give a research problem, maybe 1 week. 1 week you start. 1 week you start by reading the newspaper articles on the topic that you like. And once you like the topic, note the keywords. And after you have the keywords, you try to find out a little more details on this keyword, try to read magazine, try to read survey, and then just create this kind of a chart. And once you create this kind of a chart, you will be able to find out not one, but many research problems. I'm telling only research problem. Solution you still have to find on your own, right? How will you find out the solution? Of course, you'll have to do some analysis, maybe some mathematical analysis, maybe some simulations, and to get some graphs. That would be again another challenge. But this is how you find out a problem. This is how you find out a problem. And then how do you think you can find out analysis? Initially I told there are a lot of journal papers, there are a lot of latest paper. Now you go back to those journal papers and see what mathematical model have they used, whether they have used some kind of Shannon's equations, or uh, they have used some kind of Poisson's process, or they have used some kind of mathematical model. What is their simulation? I told you before, simulation setup. What is their simulation setup? Now, once you have identified your problem, now go to specific journal papers, try to find out specific simulation setup, trying to find out specific analysis, and then you are good to go, right? Now, once you have done this, now you are ready to write your paper. How do you write your paper? My suggestion, I always do this. I create a skeleton of a paper. How do I create a skeleton of the paper? I just write what are the sections that I will have, and what do I plan to cover in those sections. That's it. Just the keywords. Now my life becomes easier. I have a plan. I have a plan. So we started with that when we are doing engineering, and when we are having a given curriculum, the university gives us syllabus, right? And it becomes easier that I know this is my syllabus. I do this topic, I do this topic, I do this topic. I'm ready to write an exam. Now this skeleton is your syllabus. So once you have created the objective, once you have come with the research problem, now you create your skeleton like this. You do not need to know the details as of now, just the keywords. Now this is your syllabus. Now try read on this. Every topic you read on this, and once you read, you can write your own paper, right? That is how it works. So again, when you write your own paper, my suggestion is always start by writing an introduction, right? So I usually start by writing an introduction. Why? Because when I'm writing my introduction, in introduction, everybody has to write what is their motivation, what is the problem, what is the intended solution, and what is the contribution. So once I write all these things about my work, it becomes clear to me what I'm planning to do ahead. Right? It becomes, even if my analysis is not ready right now, even if my mathematical model is not ready right now, but I understand that. For example, our question was, what is the effect of virtual base stations on the battery life of smartphone? So if I have to write introduction on that, how will I write? I will start with Are the smartphones relevant? What is the importance of smartphones? Do we need them today, or will we be needing them in future? Something like that, right? What were they relevant yesterday? What are they relevant today? And then you find out the motivation for the work. My motivation is that I want ubiquitous connectivity, right? So I'll start researching on ubiquitous connectivity, right? And what is my problem statement? My problem is that if I have ubiquitous connectivity, I have to put lot of base stations, and lot of base stations means lot of investment, right? That is my problem. So what is my solution? My solution is to have virtual base stations. How can I have virtual base station? Now this is where this this structure is ready. Now contribution, you have to find out the solution, right? You have to find out some mathematical analysis, you have to find out some AI technique, you have to find out some ML technique, you have to find out some techniques and write. But writing this kind of introduction will give you a plan of what you want to do in future, right? And then, of course, there is a literature survey. Every paper needs to have a short literature survey. Literature survey will help you refine your thought. I told you literature survey is important because of feasibility of the work, right? Whether there is if somebody has already given a solution, then your paper will be rejected because of not having a novelty, right? So you have to compare your work with us. That is why literature survey is important. You see that somebody has already done this work. If somebody has already done this work, what was their methodology? Can you improve their methodology? That will give you the idea of your contributions, right? So then finally is your methodology. Your methodology, you can either come up with your idea, or it's usually helpful. I try to find out on the similar problem what other people have done, and I try to see if this can be solved differently, if that can be solved differently, right? And when you do methodology, try to do a thorough analysis of that methodology, and finally try to think of a simulation setup and present some graphs. You do so normally when people are starting research, especially, I don't know, if you are not very good in simulations, or if you are not very familiar with how to represent graphs, so people are already afraid. Oh, how will I represent my graph? How will I represent my analysis? Even if you do not know that thing, don't worry. You can use Excel to write your graph, as long as your problem statement is solid, as long as your solution is very good. You can find out. MATLAB is not very difficult. If you are still not comfortable with MATLAB, you write your program in C. You are not comfortable with that, just put some numbers, uh, do some mathematical analysis, write an equation, or get some numbers, or try to have graphs in Excel. So don't give up on research because you think you cannot do the analysis or you cannot do the simulation. Don't worry about that, right? Start with a problem. Start with what could be the solution. You will, because you will read so many papers, you will come across so many simulation setups, you will come up across so many analysis. Automatically your brain will start to think on those lines, right? And once you have written all these things, my suggestion is you write the abstract and conclusion in the end. Always abstract is a brief summary of the paper, and conclusion should be in continuation with the abstract, right? Abstract says that in this paper we plan to do this. Conclusion says we got these results, right? After doing that. So the abstract and conclusion have a flow. Now, why abstract and conclusion are important is because even if, say, if my paper is in IEEE website, so IEEE website is not a uh, free source, right? So, but even then, my abstract and conclusion are standalone. They are available to everybody, right? Or somebody is going to review my paper. So, if I start to review somebody's paper, the first thing I do is read the abstract. So, your abstract always write in the end because you know thoroughly what is your work, right? And then finally, the references. Please give the credit where it is due. Be honest. So I understood this particular sentence or this particular concept from this particular paper, then I have to refer that paper. The honesty, the authenticity is very, very important in this case, right? And then, of course, we have to write the paper in scientific style. We have to understand when we are writing our articles, we are not trying to impress anybody, right? It is not it is not for entertainment. It is that I have done some work and I want you to understand my research, and I allow you to judge my research, and I have evidence for that, I have analysis for that, I have graph for that, I could find out this problem, I could find out solution to this problem, right? And when we are writing the paper, pay attention to the format and grammar and avoid clear errors like this. So here you can see the spelling of clear and errors, both are wrong. So avoid clear errors like this. So this is my idea of research that you can start with. I really hope I have been able to convey something on that. And with this, I'll try to wind up. So my takeaway is, uh, it is not going to be easy, but start with, take small steps, break down everything that you want to do. Just break down. Once you break down, like if you see Saroj Khan teaching dance to some kids, he will break down 1 2 3 4 steps. So here also, whenever you are starting your research, you are reading a paper or you are writing a paper, or you find out a topic, break it down into small and each thing. First you try to find out a simple definition and then build upon that. If you start jumping on research papers immediately, it will be little difficult, right? That was my journey of research. This is how I did, and I thought this might help people who are doing that. So yeah, with this I am done. Any further questions would be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for explaining. Thank you so much, ma'am, for explaining each and every points very nicely. Thank you for knowledgeable and valuable words. Now the session is open for question hour. If you have any kind of questions, kindly raise your hands and put your question in chat box. You can also directly interact with our speaker.
Hello? Hello?
Ma'am, you are audible.
Ma'am, thank you so much for such a very nicely explained in very easy language. I had certain questions like how to choose a base paper, and what are differentiation between the fake journals and the true journals, and what are the authentic free tools for plagiarism.
Yeah. So yeah, I understand fake journals, right? So of course there are a lot of fake journal. I should have covered that point. There are important journals, for example, SCI or SCIE journals, right? So first of all, try to find out whether uh, they are listed in as SCI and SCIE journal. For that, you can go to Claviate site, right? So what I'll do is, in my presentation, I'll give you the name of that site, and I'll share that presentation with the organizers, and they can have. So I'll give you the name of that site. On that site, you can see whether the journal is SCI or SCIE. The journals that simply ask you money to publish, do try to avoid those kind of journals, right? So I don't know, we are from, I think all of us are from computer science or electrical electronics. background, then try to go for IEEE journals. IEEE journals. Most of the IEEE journals are free journals, right? And then conference also, you can go to IEEE website itself. They will announce there what are the upcoming conferences, right? And what are the conferences there. So my suggestion is to go on IEEE Explore, any journal which has very poor editing. You can read the paper. So say you come across some journal and the article is not very well edited, the references are not properly cited, the grammar is not very good, this gives you an idea that something is not very nice with that journal. Normally good journals will have good editorial board, and that will make sure that only the selected good articles are present in the journal. So if somebody is asking you a lot of money for the article, don't fall into trap. First ensure that this is a very reputed journal, SCI journal or SCI journal, or at least in Web of Science, right? So try to use those kind of journals, and I'll share the website in my presentation where you can check whether it is an SCI or SCI e-journal. Normally, base paper, that is what I usually do. If I like some topic, I try to read the survey. So I understand the uh, force that forces us to read one base paper, but one base paper is usually not very sufficient. Now, one base paper can be helpful that you have identified a problem in that paper, or you have identified that how you can improve that paper. So then one base paper is enough. But my suggestion will be that go for 2 to 3 papers, right? Two to three conference paper which are talking of a similar thing. So say, for example, I have, let us say, how to address scalability in IoT. So I will take one paper, two paper, three paper, and see how paper one has given the suggestion, or how paper two has given the suggestion, how paper three has given the suggestion. Then what I can do is I can compare their solutions. And when I can compare the solution, maybe I can find out a better way, or maybe I can find out a hybrid model. So selecting just one base paper, I think, will limit you. My suggestion is at least have 2 to 3 to 4 papers which you consider putting them together on the same topic. And what was the other question?
Ma'am, thank you so much. Ma'am, what is the most authentic free
Oh,
tool for plagiarism detection?
okay.
Because many are paid and the students cannot
Right.
afford.
I can understand, but again, I will have to research on that,
Okay,
because
okay, okay.
usually
Okay.
universities provide us
Ji.
these two. So I'm so sorry. I'll try
No,
to
no,
find
it's
out
okay,
more on.
ma'am. It's okay. Actually, plagiarism is the most
I
important
know.
issue.
I know.
Ji.
I know. So
Okay,
if you
ma'am.
are if you are not copying, okay,
Hmm.
my one suggestion I'll make: never ever copy the sentence as it is. Even if you like the sentence so much, even if you have to put the sentence in your paper, change the language, right? If nothing, then change the active voice into passive voice, but never ever write the same sentence. You can use synonyms, right? Like if somebody has used the word obtain, you can use the word evaluate, you can try to find out synonyms, right? So
Oh,
never ever use the same sentence. So if you are not using the same sentence, I think you will not have issues with plagiarism.
yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a wonderful session and it
Yeah.
was really very nice to hear you. Thank you so much once
Some
again.
student here is asking about open access journals. So there are a
Yeah.
lot of open access journal in IEEE. I'll suggest IEEE Access. Please note down, IEEE Access is an open source and it has some really good articles. Other open source that I know of is MDPI. The MDPI sensors, MDPI, these are all SCI e-papers. So even if you do not have access to paid journals, you can check there. And there is one on wireless personal communication. There is Hindavi. These are some of the good SCI e-journals which are not paid. So they are open access. So you can have the open access. Idea about open access journal is, say if I have to read IEEE papers, then I have to take membership of IEEE, right? I have to pay for it. But there are certain open access paper where the author is paying the fees to the journal, and the journal is making the paper open to everybody. Now, once you are going for open access journal, make sure that is cited journal. It is either SCI or SCIE journal. There are a lot of open journals which are simply collecting money and the quality of paper is not good. So open access, if you are reading something or if you are publishing in an open access, make sure that it is a listed journal. Listed, when I say it is SCI or SCIE. That's okay. Anything else? Sources for research for students who have passed out is this only. Open access is free. You can access from anywhere. Am I still online?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, this online communication has, of course, it is helpful in a way that we are able to have this webinar, but yeah, it has its own disadvantages. Anything else I can help with?
Anyone have any questions? Okay. If there are no questions, then I would like to thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful session. I would declare the end of the technical session. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Rashmikant Pati sir, Assistant Professor, Sambalpur University, Institute of Information Technology, Sambalpur, Odisha, for vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning to Honorable Speaker, Dr. Mamta Madam, respected Director, Sweet, and respected Principal, DLS College, respected HOD from Sambalpur University Institute of Information Technology, as well as from DLS College, respected convener and co-convener, Madam, my student colleagues, Dr. Bharat Ranjan Sahu and Subhendu Das, dear all faculty members, dear all faculty members presented here, and my dear students. The essence of all beautiful art is a gratitude. And it is my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. On behalf of Sambalpur University Institute of Information Technology and from all participating students, would like to propose a vote of thanks. What exactly I see, a well designed, well documented, well prepared, most informative talk which, which is inspired and motivated us. I can see Dr. Mamata Madam has included every corner of the research, starting from the keywords to how to publish a paper in high impact factor journals. I can understand organizing this lecture is not less hard work than that of writing an article for a high journal impact factors. And Madam, especially the speaker, Madam, Dr. Mamta Madam, a big thank you for delivering such a crucial topic and a marvelous presentation. Today's seminar was full of knowledge and interesting things. I hope it make all of you to make a start of career in research. We will also be in touch with Professor Mamata Ajual for similar kind of webinar activity soon for more students. I feel proud to our students, Dr. Bharat Ranjan Sahu and Subhendu Das, for initiating and organizing such a beautiful webinar, as well as connecting SWIT with institution of records and introducing SWIT is in an international forum. I finally I must say, for them, their alma matters. And with a concluding remark, I pick up this line from Mamta Madam's slide: "The darkest night produced the brightest star." Thank you. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being with us. And thank you so much for attending this webinar, and request everyone to stand for a national anthem. Thank you.
गणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंग तव शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय हिंद जय भारत जय छत्तीसगढ़
Thank you very much, Sanskriti madam. I would declare the end of the session. Thanks to all. Thank you very much.